Welcome to Good Doctors. Today we'll be doing carcinogenesis. എന്താണ് കാർസിനോജെനസിസും അതിൻ്റെ സ്റ്റെപ്പ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് അതൊക്കെ നമ്മളിന്ന് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യും. We'll discuss the steps. We'll discuss what are the different type of carcinogens that is causing the cancer. So let's begin with the basic definition. What do you mean by carcinogenesis? It is the process of formation of a cancer. So what are carcinogens? Carcinogens are substances. They can be a chemical, they can be radiation, they can be microorganism. So we call them biological carcinogens sometimes. So carcinogen is a substance which have the potential to change a normal tissue into a cancer. That is, it will make the tissue undergo a malignant transformation. Malignant transformation നടത്താൻ ഒരു ടിഷ്യൂവിനെ പ്രേരിപ്പിക്കാനുള്ള കഴിവായിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട് കാർസിനോജനുണ്ട്. What are the steps of carcinogenesis? There are 3 steps: initiation, promotion and progression. Carcinogenesis എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് it is a multi-step process. It is not a single step process. So we will begin with the step known as initiation. So a carcinogen is reaching the body. നമ്മുടെ ശരീരത്തിലേക്ക് carcinogen എത്തുകയാണ്. So we can see the carcinogen is now inside the body, or we can say carcinogen is inside the cell. So the carcinogen here have 2 routes. It can get excreted or removed, or it can cause a mutation, right? So it can either get removed or excreted, or it can cause a mutation. Now if it is removed, the cell is happy, right? There is nothing much to worry about. But if it causes the mutation, that is not that happy news, right? So any cell that have underwent a mutation, we call it by the name as an initiated cell. Initiated cell occurs further mutations, and because of the actions of promoters are certain compounds which promote the process of what? Promote the process of further and further mutation, and it promotes the process of carcinogenesis, and that is why we call it step 2, that is promoters, right? So we'll get pre-neoplastic cells, and they further undergo mutations, and this step is known as progression, and this progression will create what? A neoplasm, right? This progression will create a neoplasm. Now mutation caused are 2 types actually. There can be lethal mutations which makes the cell die, so there is no more progression because it cannot be passed on to daughter cells, right? If it is a non-lethal mutation, that is where the thing is happening. If it is a non-lethal mutation, the cell is like this, and it can divide, and it will pass to the daughter cells. So a neoplasm will be, or the cancer will be passed on to daughter cells. Classification of carcinogens. Carcinogens are classified into 2, that is direct carcinogens and indirect carcinogens. Direct carcinogens are those carcinogens which need a metabolic activation, while the indirect do not need a metabolic activation. What are the examples of direct? Chemotherapy drugs are example of direct carcinogens. Polycyclic hydrocarbons, benzapyrene or benzopyrene, both of them, some people call it benzo, some people call it benza. So benzo or benzapyrene is also another indirect carcinogen. Now let's learn how an indirect carcinogen takes this process of forming a cancer. So this indirect carcinogen should be metabolically activated. A metabolic activation has to take place for the indirect carcinogen to become an ultimate carcinogen. And this ultimate carcinogen is the one which then causes cancer. Metabolic activation, we know that requires some enzymes. So one of the major enzymes are cytochrome P450 enzymes, and cytochrome P450 enzymes have a feature, that is polymorphism, genetic polymorphism. What do you mean by genetic polymorphism? Simply put, enzyme activity of a person A is not equal to enzyme activity of person B. I can illustrate that with an example here. Consider there are 2 people, A and B. Both are smokers, right? And both have benzopyrene in their body. But person A have a higher activity polymorphic variant of cytochrome P450. So his benzopyrene is converted into carcinogen and he gets a cancer. That's very sad, right? But the person B is also smoking, but because he have a low genomic variant, low activity genomic variant of P450, he is not getting a cancer, right? This is known as genetic polymorphism. But even if we don't get a cancer, or even if we miss the cancer, you should remember that smoking is still bad. Okay, don't smoke, please don't smoke. Now let's move. So this is what we call by the name polymorphism. Okay, that is an important aspect in indirect carcinogenesis. Now we move to chemical carcinogenesis. This is a dry area, but I have tried to make it as conceptual as possible. So number one is aflatoxin. Aflatoxin, usually get it from a mold, that is a fungus, Aspergillus, and actually it is released from the Aspergillus when stored grains undergo contamination, and it causes hepatocellular carcinoma. An important term to keep in mind with aflatoxin is mutational hotspot. എന്താണ് mutational hotspot? What it means is for aflatoxin there is a favorite codon where aflatoxin binds and produces a cancer, right? So that is known as mutational hotspot. Now coming to alcohol, that is the second chemical carcinogen. Alcohol is indicated in the cancer of the oropharynx, cancer of larynx, cancer of upper esophagus. So carcinoma oropharynx, carcinoma larynx and carcinoma esophagus are all examples of this. What is important here? Sometimes they can ask you MCQs on all except questions. Which of the following carcinomas are not formed due to alcohol usage, right? Now coming to third one, which is an important one, asbestos. Asbestos can cause lung cancer and mesothelioma. Cadmium can cause prostate cancer. Cigarette smoking can cause oropharynx, esophageal, lung, kidney and bladder cancers. So don't smoke. Now we move to another aspect, that is radiation carcinogenesis. So radiation carcinogenesis. We have two kinds of radiation, that is UV rays and ionizing radiation. We'll talk about UV rays first. Okay, so UV rays are divided into three: UVA, UVB, and UVC. UVC, we are protected from UVC because of ozone, and UVB is the most carcinogenic. What is the mechanism of UV radiation induced injury? The mechanism is pyrimidine dimers. എന്താണ് pyrimidine dimers? We have purine and we have pyrimidine, like ATGC. If two pyrimidines are combined, we get a pyrimidine dimer, right? That is a pyrimidine dimer. Pyrimidine dimer ഉണ്ടായിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, if a pyrimidine dimer is formed, it can disrupt the linking and it can also disrupt the helix of the DNA. Usually this is repaired by the nucleotide excision repair pathway. NER എന്ന് പറയുന്ന pathway ആണ് ഇതിനെ റിപ്പയർ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നത്. In UVB induced carcinogens or UVB induced cancer, this system is overwhelmed. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് റിപ്പയർ നടക്കാതെ, because of that repair is getting hindered and the neoplasm is formed. Alright. Another aspect to keep in here is melanin is a light absorbing pigment. So if melanin is reduced, we usually get a fair skin, and these people are more prone to radiation induced malignancies, like UV ray induced malignancies. Now what are the malignancies caused by UV rays? Squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma, melanoma. Most of these are in skin, right? Skin cancers. Another important point to keep in mind here is Merkel cell carcinoma. The skin have a cells known as Merkel cells, right? But they are not the cancer of the Merkel cell, that is Merkel cell carcinoma, is not due to radiation, but it is due to a virus, that is Merkel cell polyomavirus. I hope that is clear. Now we move to ionizing radiation. So there are UV radiation, ionizing radiation. Points to remember in ionizing radiations are the mechanism by which they act are chromosome breaking, point mutation, etc. An important MCQ or a question that you usually ask is the most common cancer associated with the medical imaging, and the answer is myeloid leukemia. Okay, now we move to the final session, that is microbial carcinogenesis. Again I have tried to make it as conceptual as possible. So we have viruses and we have bacteria. We have only one bacteria, that is H. pylori. Under viruses we have DNA viruses and RNA viruses. We'll discuss them. We'll discuss each and every one of them. The first one is H. pylori. Helicobacter pylori. So it is the first bacteria to be called a carcinogen, and it causes gastric adenocarcinoma and maltoma. What do you mean by malt? Malt is mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. It is a lymphoid tissue that is usually seen in the GAT. This is the GAT. So malt is associated with the lymphoid tissue. It is a lymphoid tissue of a GAT. We can say it is not restricted to GAT only, but mostly seen there. So maltoma and gastric adenocarcinoma. It's a mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. The gene which is associated with H. pylori carcinogenesis, KJ gene. Okay, these are all the important points about H. pylori. Now we move to human papillomavirus. Human papillomavirus, the important point first is the type of human papillomaviruses. There is a low risk type, there is a high risk type, there is a medium risk type. 6 and 11, 16 and 18, 31, 33. High risk causes neoplasm, low risk causes genital warts. Right? What are the cancer caused by HPV? Cervical cancer, anogenital carcinoma, laryngeal carcinoma, etc. Now with the pathogenesis, there are two proteins, E6 and E7. E6 inhibits P53 gene, so tumor suppression is gone, and it also stimulates telomeresis, which gives it limitless replicatory potential. The E7, on the other hand, suppresses the RB gene, so it's another tumor suppressor gene. It also inhibits cyclin dependent kinase inhibitors. Cyclin dependent kinase inhibitor, for example P21, is inhibited. So cyclin dependent kinases are free, right? There is no one to inhibit the cyclin dependent kinases. So cell cycle checkpoints are bypassed and cell undergo division more and more and more. Right? Now we move to coelocytic changes. It is a characteristic change that we can see in HPV infected cells. This is the normal cell. You can see normal cells here, right? The three important features to consider, that is resin-like hyperchromatic nuclei. There is a perinuclear halo. You can see a perinuclear halo here. You know this perinuclear halo, right? And you can see there are what? Thick membrane cells. You can see a thick membrane cells. Now coming to the second virus, that is Epstein-Barr virus. So that's all about coelocytic change. Now Epstein-Barr virus, again B, it's an EBV, so B for B cell affected, and it causes Burkitt lymphoma. The Epstein-Barr virus binds to the B cell using the CD21 receptor. EBV binds to the CD21 receptor. Pathogenesis, we have three proteins, EBNA1, EBNA2, LMP1. What is the function of EBNA1? This is the human genome, the host genome, and this is the viral genome. This is the viral genome. EBNA1 incorporate the viral genome with the host genome, so that when the cell undergo a division, the virus is transferred into the daughter cells. That is the function of EBNA1. Now we move to EBNA2. EBNA2, what does EBNA2 do? EBNA2 activates the cyclin D, therefore cell cycle regulation is dropped. It actually stimulates the BCL2. BCL2 is an anti-apoptotic gene, so apoptosis is reduced. LMP1 activates the NF-kappa pathway, that is a developmental pathway, it is a growth pathway. Then it also acts like a CD40 receptor. What do you mean by a CD40 receptor? I'll explain the concepts here. So as you can see, this is a B cell. B cell have a CD40 receptor. On the CD40 receptor, T cell brings an antigen and present is the CD40 ligand. So CD40 ligand with an antigen, when attached to CD40 receptor, stimulates the B cell. And the B cells are activated, B cells undergo proliferation. So stimulation of CD40 receptor or a stimulated CD40 receptor will cause B cell proliferation, and that is why Robbins have said LMP1 behaves like what? A full-time or a constitutionally active CD40 receptor. So when LMP1 behaves like the CD40 receptor, the B cell will undergo proliferation and proliferation and proliferation. We get what? Burkitt lymphoma or neoplasms. Now all these are highly antigenic proteins. So whenever our body's CD8 cytotoxic T cells comes in contact with this, they will kill them. Only if the immunity of the person is good enough. Now we can move to the lesions caused by EBV. So EBV can cause neoplastic lesions and non-neoplastic lesions. If you have a good immunity, you have non-neoplastic lesions, and that is infectious mononucleosis. And if it turns out to be malignant, or if it turns out to be a neoplasm, then it becomes nasopharyngeal carcinoma or Burkitt's lymphoma. The next virus is HBV and HCV. HCV is a RNA virus, HBV is a DNA virus, and they are all both indicated in hepatocellular carcinoma. HTLV, that is named human T-cell leukemia virus, causes adult T-cell leukemia or lymphoma. മനസ്സിലായി? അപ്പോൾ പേര് വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത് അതിൻ്റെ രോഗത്തിൽ നിന്ന് തന്നെയാണ്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് കോസിങ് T-cell leukemia. So T-cell leukemia virus, human T-cell leukemia virus, human T-cell leukemia virus, that's it. Now the final example is Merkel cell polyoma virus. നമ്മൾ ഓൾറെഡി പറഞ്ഞു Merkel cell polyoma virus causes Merkel cell carcinoma. So this is all about the carcinogenesis.